This is Better Call Harry podcast number 1. And this is our really expensive graphic that we're doing. And today we thought we'd do something really exciting. We're going to talk about taxes. I mean, because what's more exciting than talking to a tax attorney? And this is Jason Wiggum. How long have you been doing this now?
Oh, 15 years?
15 years?
Yeah.
You know, I told my daughter, by the way, after we had a conversation last time during one of our interviews, I said, you need to become a tax attorney. I said, there really is a lot of excitement in this.
Sure.
Well, and also what you were telling me before is that you get the fact that you get to help people and you get to go up against the IRS and fight them.
Yeah, fighting the man is fun. I get to help real people with real problems, so I enjoy that. Taxes can be boring sometimes, though. That's the only thing I would warn her. But
No, they're not, honey. They're not bored. For purposes of this podcast, they're very exciting.
No, I enjoy my job. It's real people, real problems. I tell lots of people I don't need reality TV because I get drama and real life issues in the cases where I help people, and it's a lot more fun than helping some like faceless entity that you don't know. I get to go against the faceless entity and beat them and have fun with it.
Well, yeah, you were saying by the time somebody shows up at your door at the firm, they're in trouble.
Yeah, typically. Yeah. Varying degrees. Sometimes it's like all my property has been taken to, hey, I got a scary notice. So, but yes, trouble.
Anything
There's
like,
an issue.
What's the show? Ozark? Anything ever come close to Ozark?
Not that I'm aware of. I would rather not know.
Not that you could tell me.
Yeah, no.
All right. Let me stop you there, because today we want to talk about taxes, since it's coming up, and every year I do this. I mean, every Friday I try and give some, I'm not an accountant or a tax attorney, but try and guide people along so that they can get their taxes done on time and not get scammed. But before I give any information, I usually refer to a CPA or a tax attorney. So the first thing that we wanted to talk about, which you brought up, was doing your taxes for free. Can you please explain to me in a nutshell, is that real?
Yeah, there are programs where that can potentially happen. The IRS runs one called the VITA program. That's VITA.
We'll put that on the screen there.
Perfect. And they have a website for it that you can go to and search by your zip code, and it will show you all of the VITA locations in the Metro Atlanta area. There's a number of them. They're open during tax season at varying times. And I suggest you look it up and give them a call to see if you qualify. I don't think they can prepare returns for free for everyone, but it's a great service. It's typically, volunteers helping people do the returns for free.
And I was going to say, as I was chiming in here, income level, because I would think getting your taxes done for free, you have to make less than $15,000 a year, but it's much higher.
Yeah, I think it's like 65 to 70,000 or less, but I think there are even situations where you can make more than that and they might help you.
So that's option one. Option one is not available for everybody. So let's talk about option two, what a lot of people do, and I still don't understand why they do this. All of the strip centers, the shopping strip malls that pop up. Be careful how you word that. This is a fun podcast. See, who knew taxes were going to be so fun? Anyway, these places that pop up, are these CPAs? Are these tax attorneys when you walk into these places?
No. There are some like national chains that pop up during tax season that we're not referring to here. I think this is like fly-by-night, unlicensed tax preparer types. Frequently, they will not even sign the return because they're not allowed to. And they're usually promises about what they can do with your tax return that are not legit. And you're best to avoid them. I mean, I'm sure there are some strip mall preparers that maybe aren't bad, but I think stick to.
Let's talk about the bad guys.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they going to? So what are they going to do when I walk in? Are they going to inflate my tax returns so that I get a larger return?
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they like fake. Like I had a friend who sent me his return. I looked at it. There were like fake businesses on the return. I looked at one where half the person's income was deducted as medical expenses, and I was like, "Did you have cancer last year? What happened?" And they're like, "No, I'm not sick." So they just literally make stuff up, put on the return to increase the refund. They might claim certain tax credits. There's a couple pandemic related tax credits that are still out there that I've seen minute returns filed for, um, and taken erroneously. Yeah, that's how they do it. There's not like the tax code's not a secret. It's out there. If someone's claiming they have some secret sauce to get you more free money, I would be very skeptical.
So what should your first question be? You walk in there, should it be what are your qualifications?
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, like, are you an enrolled agent? Are you a CPA? Are you an attorney? Um, what is your P10? Um, I believe it's the
What is that,
prepare.
like your temperature? What is it?
Yeah, it's
What's
the
your P10? About
it's it
106.
yeah. A- After you get an IRS notice. Yeah. So the P10, I think it's prepare tax ID number. I might have that wrong, but it's the number the IRS assigns to you. And if you're legitimate, you're gonna have one. It's not required, so not everybody has them, but
Why
people
is it
that
not
are
required? I don't understand that. I mean, we're talking about taxes here. You would think that
yeah.
it would require licensing.
Well, the IRS would like that to be the case. I think a lot of tax attorneys, CPAs would like that to be the case, but unfortunately, it was required, and then a court overturned that. They said the IRS went too far, so Congress needs to fix that.
So that means it's your job. I hate saying this, but to do your research. I hate when consumer reporters say, "Do your research." But I mean, really, I mean, if you're walking into a strip mall, and I keep saying strip mall, I got to just scratch out. You keep walking into a shopping center, and you walk into a place, and you don't know anything about these people. How do you know that they're going to do a good job? And you just don't.
Maybe ask for a referral from friends. Look up reviews online.
So if you're going to do it in person with somebody, at a minimum, it should what, be an enrolled agent?
Yeah, I mean, I have met preparers that are not those things, that are good, that have a lot of experience, but yeah, you should be more skeptical if a person doesn't have a designation. If you're an enrolled agent, that means you're regulated by the IRS. You had to take a test. You have certain expertise. If you're CPA, same thing, right?
Right.
You had to, go through the CPA exam and have all these credentials and education. And then the same thing with a tax attorney. A lot of the tax attorneys, though, like myself, don't prepare tax returns.
Right.
So it's really going to be like an EA or CPA mostly.
Okay. And costs. I want to touch on this real quick because we did a story together, and we don't have to go into the story, but it
Sure.
was one of these debt relief companies, and they wanted $6,000 to resolve this person's issue, and they didn't know what they were doing. Um, and you were saying that sometimes a tax attorney could be less expensive than going to one of these companies.
Sure. So the cost to prepare tax returns.
Or yeah, just the cost to prepare.
Yeah, you know, I, I would say you're not going to pay less than like $700. I mean, maybe 500, but I would say if you're going to hire someone, expect to pay 750 or more. If you have a simple tax return, which is, hey, I just have a W-2, um, I think you're going to be on the lower end of that range. But if you're, self-employed, or you have a rental property or anything more complicated, it, becomes more costly.
I mean, I say with anything like that, I've always told people to go to a CPA
Uh,
or at least start there.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, so a lot of people do stuff online without naming the companies like TurboTax or Fidelity or that I
Sure.
just named. Not that they're bad, but I mean, these options are available.
Yeah.
And I guess I mean, they've been around for so long. They're fine if you don't have something really complicated. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. Like if you have a simple return, I think using one of those online services is fine. I mean, the concern is you might make a mistake, right? Like you transpose numbers. One time one of my friends was using one, and it had like a bar for your refund, and it would show you how much it was, and would get more and more green. And he kept playing around, with the numbers and manipulating them, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're just inputting the information off your W-2 or some other tax forms you got, and you're not doing anything complicated, I think they're fine. I mean, I personally use them. I don't now, but
Right.
when I was starting off as an attorney, even though I could do my uh, I could do my own returns. I'm a tax attorney, but I would use, those services. After a few years, though, I got annoyed and tired with it, and I started hiring a CPA. But
You hired a CPA?
oh yeah,
You're a tax attorney.
yeah. I listen. I have zero interest in doing my own tax return.
Oh, this is such an exciting business. It's so exciting that the tax attorney went and hired a CPA. Um, anyway, have we kind of covered all the basics for doing your taxes of options?
Yeah, I think so. It's you can try to do it yourself, but there's some risk with that. You can go to a preparer, but you have to be careful on the lower end because there are some unscrupulous people. And then at that point, it's just how complex your return is, and how much you want to pay, I guess.
Oh, and then here's the other thing is we talked about this once before. So you don't get it done in time. And you have those threatening phone calls that are scams that people get. No, by the way, any phone call that you get from anybody about your taxes is a scam. Because the IRS does not call you. And I can say that confidently and he'll back me up.
That's true.
Um, but if you miss the deadline, I think you were telling me there's never going to be a knock at your door the next day.
Right.
When do things start happening? I mean, everybody should pay their taxes on time. And
Correct.
but for some reason, if you can't, um, what are we looking at here? At what point do things start snowballing?
Yeah, and so it's interesting because I deal with a lot of clients who don't file for years, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, you name it. And when I talk to them, they're expecting a knock at their door shortly thereafter, and then nothing happens, and then another year passes, it's tax time, nothing happened, they just keep letting it go. Don't do that, by the way. It's not a good strategy. But if something happens, you typically get a letter about a year afterwards saying, "Hey, you didn't file a return. Please file one." If that happens, you should definitely go ahead and prepare the return and file it. Couple things. One, if you have a refund, like if you've overpaid your taxes and the government owes you money, you have 3 years to claim it.
Oh, just
So
three. I thought you could. That's your money. They're
no,
like, come get it. If after 3 years, it's
and
ours.
it's kind of wild because they will send letters to say, "We think we have your money. Please file a tax return." They're actually kind of nice in that regard. If it was me, I don't think I would do that. Um, but yeah, if you don't file on time, that's one of the things that could happen to you. I mean, there are penalties for late filing. Like if you owe them something, it's 5% per month, max of 25%. So it can get plus interest. So it can get
So it's
expensive if you wait.
so I'll give me an example. If you owe $10,000.
Yeah. So if I owe $10,000 and I don't file for a year, that's a 25% penalty. So $2,500 plus interest, which is currently 7%. So I don't know, another couple $100, and then they charge a late payment penalty. So if you do not pay the 10,000 by April 15th, they start charging you half a percentage point per month until you hit 22.5% on that, because you have the late filing penalty. So
What's your max out of
I'm
pocket?
bad at math off the top of my head, but that's probably another, what, 6%? So 6% of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
So it's expensive. Yeah.
it's a good idea to go ahead and do it. Worst case, I mean, if you just never pay, you can go to jail.
Yeah. Yes.
Have you ever had a client where you're like, "Hey, you're going to jail"?
Um, I mean, no. When people come to me, the idea is I'm going to try to keep them out of jail. Keep them out of prison. I do have people who come to me that weren't angels, and maybe did some things they shouldn't have done, and it's about trying to correct it. And I would say in most situations with the IRS, As long as you're proactive and you want to repay them, you can avoid that. Not legal advice or a guarantee by any means, just generally speaking. But yeah, I mean, I deal with people all the time that haven't filed, haven't paid them, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. So it's more common than you would think.
See, and that's what makes tax law so exciting, which is why my daughter's going to become a tax attorney. I mean, you're
Okay.
dealing with people who
We hire interns, so
you do. Well, she's in high school, but
maybe she goes to college.
I may send her your way. All right, so this ends the first episode, our first podcast, the Better Call Harry, with the incredibly wonderful graphic. Was there anything that I was forgetting?
No, I think we're good. Can I keep the graphic?
Yeah.
Can I put on the wall? This is the first episode?
Yeah, I mean, I drew it on your stationery. You can keep it.
Like,
Thank you all for watching. Watch this podcast wherever you get your podcast. I think that's what I'm supposed to say. We may shorten this down. If there's any other links, we're going to put them on there. And that's it. Say goodbye.
thanks for having me.
Oh, and you know what? I don't even think I said it again. Say your name one more time in case people are looking.
Jason Wiggum with Wiggum Law. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye, guys.